pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Amendments to the agenda.
I would just like to see an executive session at personnel.
Personnel?
That's the executive session.
Okay.
If we need it.
Okay. I think that's fine. Mike's making a motion, so
We're making a motion, so I'll second it.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So that's in the executive session in the meeting. Anything else? John?
I need to have you either add on the new business or old business about the playground. We have our state health regulations that have to be followed down there. You talk about it, get it done.
We don't have it. You want to add it?
Yeah.
Is that all right with everybody to put it on new business? Playgrounds? One more time, folks.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Second? Second, anyone?
Second.
Julie? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good. We can,
Why in our minutes? And why did we have to vote last week again on the water sewer budget? We did the week before?
we haven't got to that, but
No, it's in the minutes of the meeting.
I haven't got to the minutes yet, that's all.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It'll be a second here. We're all okay with that, and we voted on the playground addition. All right. Approval of the minutes.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of June 16th as written.
Second.
I'll second it. For
You
discussion.
have a question.
Yeah, why did we vote again on the water sewer last meeting? We voted on it the week, or 2 weeks before that.
Yep, so it was all the same.
Yeah.
We wanted to vote again on the rate.
Sewer.
But it was all the same. It didn't need to, but it's nice housekeeping. The board made some changes to the budget, which shifted around, I think it was 15,000. And you just had to look at it one more time.
Anybody, any other questions? That satisfied, that gets your answer. All right. Any other questions, comments, additions, deletions? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. 5 minutes for public comment.
I got one supplement, Ron.
Go.
Do we allow the general public or other people to use our garbage cans around the parks and down the street? I don't know garbage and that kind of stuff.
They shouldn't be.
Well, we had a guy come from where he lives. We all know where he lives. Parked out front here, walked across town, put his garbage in our garbage can. In the morning. That was usual.
I put garbage in the garbage?
Yeah, bag your garbage, walk that on your truck, walk across the green over to the park over there, put your garbage in, put your garbage, walk back.
No, I didn't. Yes, you did. I certainly did that. I had that laptop on my arm.
No.
I went to check the grass to make sure the grass was well cut.
Why don't you call the wife down here, she saw you too?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll bring her down. But
Yeah,
anyway.
bring her down.
And I got one other thing. What's going on with the monument, fire department monument that was put there in 1976?
Are you asking me, John?
Yeah,
I don't know what you're talking about.
well, you got a hole dug down by the base and stuff there. Are you planning on moving it or something?
No thoughts of moving.
Good. I just had to ask a question. Something going on there. I don't know why anybody would dig a hole this big around on the back side of the monument down below the base, the whole of the monument.
Maybe they were trying to square it up. Who knows? I don't know.
Well, I don't know what level that thing is heavy.
I don't know.
Thought it's strange to see a hole there.
Is it test hole?
is there, oh, the big one with the billing?
It's not a statute of General Lee, is it?
Come on.
I don't know. Fairhaven's a little bit late sometimes, maybe.
No, it has to be Matthew Lyons, or Samuel D. Champlain, maybe. I don't think General Lee was.
Anyways, we'll make sure that it's filled in. Anything else, John?
No.
Rod?
Is there a new place that we can see agendas before the meeting
Out on the front forward.
Yeah, so
electronically?
we've been posting it on Facebook. This time I posted it a week early because I was on vacation. We are gonna start posting it back on the website. So you'll be able to get it back there, yeah.
Okay, because the last agenda is on the website is 5/19.
It's old.
Okay, so, but you're gonna put it back on the website?
Yeah, it's because of COVID, we had one of the staff that was here, she was on and off and on and off. And we just didn't have the technology to do it. So I've just taken it over and I'll start posting it myself.
John?
My next? I don't know, I just was, I said to Bob earlier that maybe I'd come down and tell anybody, Sean, come here. I thought I'd come down and answer any questions, if anybody had any questions about the COVID-19.
We tested over 200 people last Saturday, and that's.
I know, I'm talking about the newspaper saying that it was an area of business, blah, 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 blah.
No.
Okay,
How's it going? I mean,
good, this Friday, everybody will be ready to come back to work.
Good.
It's a,
what did you have to do for the state? I mean, you had to test everybody, so.
no, now, this is, okay, Vermont is a right to work state. It means that you can tell your employees anything you want them to do. If it's against the law, that's a different story. So, OSHA called me and said, it's an argument if I can make employees get tested for COVID-19. But there's one thing they know for a fact. Employees don't have to tell you if they're infected or if they're not.
Good handy.
Because it's HIPAA.
Yeah.
So, where does that put you? And what kind of just gets me upset a little bit is that first of all, everybody that was infected originally were down to Pollitt. Then the other guys who got infected were in Castleton. Goose Egg and Fairhaven. Now, there was a Pulte resident and there was a Fairhaven resident. And then there was 10 guys that lived in Washington County. But how it initially got spread was, this is what, the state, if somebody gets it, the state calls you. They're like, what did you do here? What did you do there? They try to really trace it. And I think it's very, very important that they do that. My original guy, he didn't feel good at home Saturday and Sunday, he came into work. On Thursday, one guy, Thursday the 11th, he calls me and says, I feel awful. I got diarrhea, headaches. My lungs feel like they're on fire. He said, I'm going to get tested. On Saturday, he said he was positive. On the 15th, I called down Thursday to talk to everybody that worked with him and said, hey, have you been around X? I can't say his name. Have you been around X? And they said, no. The one guy says, yep, I have. I go to storage with him every day for lunch. Okay? And he says, furthermore, I was sicker than hell last weekend. And I was like, why the hell did he tell me? He's like, well, I don't know. I just thought I had the flu. I'm like, Jesus, COVID-19 and the flu is pretty close, but I said, hey, it is what it is. Well, so I asked every employee there And I asked everybody in my company, who wants to get tested? Out of 47 employees, now the two, so the original guy got tested on his own on the 11th, 13th on Saturday, so he's got it. The guy who thought maybe he got him infected got tested on the 15th, and then the 17th, he says he's got it. On the 13th and 14th, talked to everybody in our company. I says, who wants to get tested? 5 people did. Those 5 people went got tested on the 15th. They're all negative except the one guy that kind of thought that it was infected. So on the 15th, I called the state and I said, okay, what do we do? They said, well, we could come and set up a test site or a pop-up site at one of your 7 locations. We've got 4 quarries and 3 mills. We have a mill in Pollitt, Raven, Castleton. We got quarries in Pollitt, Pulteney, Wells, somewhere else. I don't know what that is, but there's 7. So on the 16th, I said to the state, hey, you guys gonna come test? They said, we're not sure. And I was like, hey, none of my employees want to get tested. If you come and, offer to get tested, then, blah, 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 blah. So on the 17th, I talked to the gal again about help, whatever it's called, the state, and she says, I haven't talked to everybody yet. And on the 18th, she said, I haven't talked to everybody yet. On the 19th, she says, let's talk at 2 o'clock if you want to have the test at your facility. It's okay, great. We decided to have it Monday the 22nd at 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock. We ended up having that at your 4 o'clock, 4:30, I got call at the 19th, and they said to me, who is Moises, Nelson, and Raphael? So 3 guys that work for me down in Pollock. And they said, well, someone at the bank said that they saw a truckload of guys, and they said who it was, and one of them is the infected guy. So I talked to the infected guy, and I said, I thought you said you never went for a ride with anybody. Well, I didn't tell you that because I went during, they went at 11 o'clock during the day instead of going at 5:30 or 6, because he said the line's an hour long, and he thought that he was gonna. Those 2 guys ride from White Hall with 2 other guys. Those guys tested positive eventually. And then the one guy, Raphael, rides to work with 4 other guys, and they all tested positive. So, that was the spread. And so on the 22nd,
Are they all quarantined or?
Yeah. Well, what we did was everybody who tested positive, we paid them for 2 weeks. Well, we paid them for, there's different, I'll explain that to you. So on the 22nd, we had the pop-up site. This is unfortunate. So we got 47 employees, 2 of them have been tested, 5 been tested, so that's 7. 17 guys want to get tested, only 3 don't. Only 3 I talked to, I say to them all. Now, most of them work in the pit. In the pit, you're in an excavator, you're in a dump truck. Pretty goddamn hard to get sick, pass it back and forth unless they do, lunch or something like that. So they all said, hey, we've got no connection to the mill whatsoever, so there should be no problem. Okay, I got you. So the 22nd, we get tested. The 23rd, 2 of my employees' wives are throwing me under the bus on Facebook, saying that I should let employees get tested. So I sent a copy of the text to the gal. It's like, oh, I didn't know that. I'm like, oh, he's probably told you a few other stories over the years, but you know, whatever. Well, then on the 23rd or 24th, the gal says to me, why don't we have another one on the 26th and try to test anybody else who wasn't originally tested? Because we've already got about 5 calls from your employees who weren't scared that there was only 2, but now after 10 more, now they're scared shitless, right? But that all kind of like, you know,
Died down.
fell on me a little bit, and it was my fault, but, you know, whatever, I'm a big boy. But, so, the 2 or 3 things that I'll say is that if you test positive and you have symptoms, you have to wait 14 days and either the 12th day you start taking your temperature. If you have a normal temperature for 3 days in a row without taking medicine to lower that, you can come back to work on the 14th day. If you have no symptoms, okay, so here's the funny thing. The 10 people that tested on the 22nd, none of them have symptoms. I mean, not one. And we've been doing a little experiment at the state, but they've been taking their temperatures every day, and they've all been under 98 or under whatever it is all days. Those people will be able to come back on the 10th day, but I thought it was, my brother Mike, my brother Dave thought it was Wednesday. I said, let's do it Thursday, so we're definitely, we know we're at 10 days, and the gal told me today, well, no, silly, it's Friday. And I'm like, well, how the hell do you get, that's the 10th day, you know, but you don't count this day, and this day here, it was a full moon, so you don't count that day, and so she explained to me then, so we're not doing it till Friday. Now, where you run into a little issue is that, and, you know, it causes me definitely to be scared about everything, but 2 of those guys that tested positive went home, lived with 8 other guys who went home. So I told those 2 guys, and I told the 8 guys that don't work for me, hey, let me send you this piece of paper from the state. This is in English, this is in Spanish. Show this to the 8 guys. The 2 guys called me and says, hey, the 8 guys want to know who's going to pay them for not working. And I said, well, that's a great question. We know the answer to that one. So, and that's unfortunate, but that's what happens. Now, I don't even know if those people got tested, but I was explaining something else. I thought they all lived together like this. The apartments that they have are the old schoolhouse apartments over Whitehall, and I guess there is some common space that people could share, but most of it's separated. So even though they all live in the same house,
Well, there's only 2 common areas.
yeah, they don't live in the same house really. So, you know, but it's really at the end of, I mean, all the damage kind of really occurred between the 8th and the 12th, and 10 days from the 12th is the 22nd, and here we are almost at the 26th. So, and then on the 26th, the day before Fairhaven tested, we did have 1 guy test positive, but he was the original guy that we think got everybody sick, but there's no telling. The 2 original guys, you can have this on your body for 10 days before you get sick. You can have this on your body for 10 days before you infect someone. So if this guy got sick on Saturday and Sunday, what happened the week before? Who the hell got him sick? You know, he could have been one of my guys that gave him a ride, or he gave a ride to him, right? You don't know. But so, and the funny thing is that, so the 1 guy tests positive, so he got tested on the 26th at Yorktown.
he tested positive again, had no symptoms, and the state told him, you can go back to work. We're like, holy shit, wait a second. They said he could possibly test positive in 3 months. Because that's what happened.
That's what they tell me.
Yeah, and she said, there's no concrete information on this. It's changing all the time because it's only 4 to 6 months old.
Now, did your people all have to, did they have to do the contact tracing too? They have to do all that?
Only the, people that were positive, the state calls them. You know, if you, well, you probably know this, maybe. You know, if you called, I mean, it's like secret on the person, you know, the person that's, and I can kind of understand it a little bit. And me and my wife talked about it this morning. I said, well, honey, it's like that terrorist deal, right? Like, if it's for terrorism, the cops and everybody have special privileges or special rules that they can go do this and that, but you don't know if these government agencies are, you know, stepping over the line, right? Like, and they probably do, because sometimes they get a little bit like, you know, whatever. And so there's a fine line there. And so it is scary. And when it went 2 to 10 or 2 to 12, I kind of was scratching my head, but hell, I was, you know, I didn't beg everybody, but I sort of did. And then, you know, you think about this, you know, I'm asking my guy who normally drives a bus for 6 or 7 guys, like, hey, you want to bring them out to Glens Falls and get tested? No. And Mike and Dave were like, oh, we got to have somebody. And I said, well, boys, I've talked to everybody and their brother, and they don't want to do it. Who wants to do it? How about you guys? Oh, no. Okay, well, you know, somebody's got to do it. I mean, you know, it's easy to say that it needs to get done, but, and you know, but, so it's that, but I think that there's, you know, people say that you can't get it twice, but there's no proof that you can't. There's that one, but the big one is testing. You know, if we could make employees get tested, you know, you got to get them to the doctors. I mean, it's like a job, right? I mean, it's like, you know, you got to get them to the doctors. And then that was a fiasco. I called out their medical center on the 13th. Called out there in the medical center on the 12th. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to have everybody in my company get tested. What the hell we do? So I called out there, Dr. Gal there, asked him, and I said, I'm sorry, the 15th. And I said, okay. I got people that, they don't do the testing. They do the, you know, stick out the tongue and all that, and are you sick? And they refer you to the Rutland Hospital, and they have it outside in the tent. Okay? So it's a 2-step deal. Well, one of my employees goes and gets the deal done in Castleton on the 13th, but can't get tested until the 15th. On the 15th, he goes and gets tested. On the 15th afternoon, I called out there and I said, okay, I've got 25 people that I want to get tested, or 30 or 40 or whatever it was. I said, how do I go about this? Well, are they previous, you know, clients or whatever? I said, no, I'm assuming not, unless some of them got cut or something, you know. Well, then no, we can't see them. So I'm like, this is something, right? So I calls up Bob. I said, Bob, didn't you get tested? Didn't you get the free, whatever it's called, assessment? Yeah. I said, well, are you past customer of theirs or whatever, client or whatever they call it, patient? He says, 18 years ago, I got caught when I worked for you at the quarry, but they told me I wasn't even in the system. I said, really? He says, yeah. I says, well, how the hell did they test you then? He says, well, I told them that you were paying the bill. So I called the goddamn woman at the health center, and I said, hey, if I pay the bill, can we go get tested up there? Well, absolutely. And I was like, holy shit. I'm like, this is a show, you know. So I talked to the gal out there at the Rutland Health Department. She's like, I'm so sorry that they told you that. That's wrong. That's not what they're supposed to be doing. I'm like, well, that's what they did. And I mean, I'm one of these business owners that I don't usually know is not an answer I take usually, and I keep digging. And because I kept digging, I found out the truth. Most people would be like, okay.
Where are you at now, Sean? Are you guys stable at 12?
Yeah, so we got 12. Everybody else has been tested. So on Friday, on the 26th, so this is wacky too, but she said they're gonna change this. And I'll tell you, when I tell you it's wacky, it's wacky. When you get tested,
That's good.
you don't want one of these, when you get tested, they only call you if you're positive.
Yeah.
They don't call you if you're negative. You'll get a letter in the mail 5 days later.
They did to me, actually, for the test in the park. They actually called.
Well,
That I was good.
I asked them,
What did you do?
they asked me, they said, there's a bunch of people get tested in the park on Saturday. Are any of those people, you think that mentally they're not fit? And I said, well, one, Bob Richards. And they said, well, maybe we should call him. I said, yeah, I'd call him. They said, anybody else? I said, nobody else?
I knew that was coming.
Oh,
So that's how you got a call. No, they told me that they're gonna change that, because I said to her, I said,
have one of those.
man, it's just like, and this is something. So I called on, so Monday, the first guy that gets a call at 11 o'clock, one of my right-hand men, he does all the trucking for us at all the quarries. He says to me, I tested positive. I go, shut up. Those I tested positive. I'm like, wow, okay. So I'm going to send my two boys on Monday at about 1 o'clock, one of them to a buddy's house to play outside, because we're not playing inside, and another one to see a buddy, and they were going to play outside. I told Martha, they're waiting for a couple hours. I might be a call. So I called her over there and I was like, listen, I know you know who got tested and who's positive. Can you tell me if I'm positive? She's like, no, I can't do that. We have to let the process work. People we're going to call, if you're positive, they're going to call you. You have to let the deal work. I'm like, are you for real? I'm like, this is John Camaris. She's like, no. She says, I'm for real. So at that time, they said there was so then, in the paper, it said 11 people. Well, at that time, 7 of the 11 called us and called me and said, hey, I'm positive. Wait, is that right? No. 5, shit. We knew 2. So the new 10, 5 had told me, whatever the math is, I knew there was a couple people out there that were infected that had called me. Well, they weren't, the state called them, and they weren't, they were leaving messages on their phone, or the phone said, there's nothing set up for this, like, no, you can't leave messages, or something like that. In my mills, the phone doesn't work great inside the mill, but when it gets outside the mill, it works pretty good. Well, they call 7:30 to 4:30. They don't call at 2 o'clock at night. They don't call your second shift or whatever, third shift. So, what was the other funny thing I was going to say is that it's kind of a little bit unusual. Can't remember.
No, this is all pretty unusual.
Well, it is. It is.
We probably should move.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I understand.
5 minutes. I just wanted to. I was talking to Mary Jane Spalding, and she was like, "Oh, John," and we were talking about something else, and she was just like, "Oh, You know, and I said, well, I was gonna go down to the town site. She said, oh, you better go now. Maybe she was trying to get me off the phone, I don't know.
Well, I appreciate it because, you know, the more we know, the better we are.
Yeah, I got you totally.
Trouble is, they changed their mind. I get 3 calls a day to change their mind about it.
Well, yeah, and, you know, they told me, you know, everybody's, well, not everybody, but the motion person and somebody else told me, they wouldn't be talking to the press. Because if they say something that you didn't say, and it's kind of like what you said, it's about an employee.
I have a
or-
name of Alan Keys, you kick him next time. you see him.
They've never changed anything.
I know. But, so, yeah, so they didn't, you know, when the state report has been reporting it, they're saying the number's still at 12. But it's really 2. Because later on, they said,
Well, they aren't counting the ones over in the Archbishop either.
well, they are. Because if that's the case, our 12 is 2. Right? And they knew that, they knew this information. I sent a spreadsheet on day 16, day 15 or 16, day 22nd or 23rd. I sent a spreadsheet of exactly where every employee was, everybody's first name and everybody's everything, where they work, all 9 yards. So they said, Fairhaven-based business. So the company that they work for is Vermont Unfading Green Slate Company. And they own land in Pollitt and Fairhaven, or Pollitt and Castleton. They don't own land in Fairhaven. Mayor Slate owns land in Fairhaven. But everybody assumed it was Mayor Slate, but it wasn't. So, and those businesses aren't Fairhaven business. But in reality, so there was 2 people that work for this Vermont company that were in Vermont that will be classified as 2. You won't get 12, you'll get 2, because those other 10 will go to New York State site. I didn't know that originally, but after I did find out about it, I was like, well, then why the hell they keep saying the cluster of 12? You know, but whatever. It is what it is. So, okay, that's all I got to say about that. Any questions?
So it looks like you'll be back in, everyone's doing well, and you'll be back in business.
Yeah, we didn't shut down at Mayor Slate. Well, we didn't. We had 2 people there, and we normally have about 10. But a couple weeks before that, a couple guys had squirrel, I let them go. And then when the guys got sick at Pollitt, there was 2 guys that could have worked. And they said, well, we'll take a couple days off, or we'll take a week off. You know, we're paying everybody, but it's not what I wanted to let everybody know in the beginning, because, you know, all the guys that could work, and they hear that, and there'll be a big fight. You pay again. So, but, so Mayor Slate, we are working, you know, at Fairhaven, and then the offices, but we haven't been really working since the beginning of this thing. And I'm working at home a little bit. The old man, I got him working, he normally only works 12 hours a day, but I've got him working 18. So I said, Dad, listen.
Oh, he's old, he's got nothing else.
Well, I told him, I said, Dad, you're older than dirt, number 1. Number 2, I think in a couple of years I'm going to build a cake. He said, now I don't think I can now, but in a couple more years, I think I got a legitimate shot. So.
Sean, thank you for coming down.
All right, guys.
Okay,
Girls.
appreciate it.
Thanks, Sean.
Sean, the
Keep
state
us
you.
posted.
gaggle of geese trying to take off in a hurricane.
What's that?
State of Vermont's acting like a gaggle of geese trying to take off in a hurricane.
It's a tough deal. Yep. Okay.
Thanks, Sean.
Deal.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Keep us posted.
Take this message.
Stop by anytime, every 2 weeks or something.
Okay.
That would, on a regular seat, you're welcome to it. So let's see here. Can we skip the department head and go to Fred and Lewis Lane? Then go back? So we don't have the people have to hang around all day long. So the old business is the Lewis Lane ownership. I guess, you wanna do a where we're at kind of thing, and then you can chime in anytime you want, Jake.
Oh, you're Jake. It's nice to meet you.
You said you couldn't get through to your phone. I don't know why.
Yeah, anyway.
Maybe I have the wrong phone number, but I've been calling you, so that's not right either.
So this is, the board has talked about this already about, taking ownership of Lewis Lane. Right now we're at the beginning, this is actually the beginning of the process. As we said on the little sheet I give you in your packet, at this meeting, if the board feels that it's a good idea to move forward, you'll want to make a motion, to actually begin the proceedings in a legal way. From that point, you have to go inspect the road, you have to survey the road. It's a multi-step process to do it correctly.
And versus background, 'cause I don't know how much conversation you had. This all started, Dick, when during the winter, there was a question as to why the road wasn't being plowed. Sometimes the town plows the road in there and sometimes they don't.
Well, they've been plowing the road for over 30 years.
And that's why we said, hey, in the middle of winter, I think that Jay had very good comments. We're gonna plow for the rest of the winter and figure this out in the summer. So that's
Your predecessors, which are going back 30 years, agreed they would plow the road and maintain the road. So, I mean, that goes back to Red Dorian, and I think, Split Hyde was on that board.
John told it.
Yeah, there was a bunch of people, but it's been done, been graded, and gravel's been put on it by the town of Fairhaven, been plowed, been done everything to it for 30 years, over 30 years.
Now, have they done, that's something I wanted to ask you, I never thought to do it till now. Have they done all the loop and everything?
Yep.
They didn't grade in front of your house.
No, the paved road they didn't touch, but the other two roads they did. But they've always plowed the paved road. So,
That was the problem I had with it all, because the paved road's in rough shape. I think the road straight in, there's not a problem with that at all, so I think that's wide enough, and from what I can see, I think it's been maintained pretty good.
well, Bud had put a bunch of material on it. When you rented the grader from Benson, you had a reciprocating thing from Benson. Benson came down and they graded that road. They must have graded it 5 or 6 times. Must have put a bunch of gravel on it. And then the last few years, he just went in there with a bucket loader and graded it with a bucket loader. After that, both roads are running in front of Mike's and that one. When you called me when I was in Florida, I didn't quite understand why all of a sudden Mike called me in a panic. Mike saw him in Reggie's old house. He called me in a panic. They're not plowing the road. I said, well,
That's why Jay's suggestion, but we wanted to get it squared away, but we decided to plow it the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And then go through the formalities afterward. Because we didn't want to leave those people high and dry. And if we decided that we weren't gonna take the road officially, then they'd have to find somebody who would want to give them time to do that. But, I don't really see, personally, I don't know enough about roads, but that doesn't look like a bad road.
Except for the paved part. I don't think we should look at the paved part, because that's a mess. There's a lot of potholes. I mean, the one, like I said, the one that goes straight in, and the other dirt road that comes across in front of the houses. They look pretty good. They don't seem to be too bad, but that paved driveway all the way down through, that's in pretty rough shape. Just, I'd hate to see the town going pave it. That's the whole thing. But the other two, I don't see a problem with.
What would if we had to pave it?
I wouldn't pave it. I'd dig it all up and put it back to gravel.
Put it back to gravel.
That was, yeah, I mean, I don't
Or
feel,
grindings?
you could go and bull mag it. mean, not grind it, you blow mag it. Blow mag it, it takes it down.
You go in there with a bulldozer and push it all up.
But if,
I mean, that's,
but you can blow mag it and it usually all the tire go back to material.
yeah,
But again, whose expense is that gonna be? That's what I'm looking at. It just, the roads, like I said, the other two roads, I don't think we'd have a problem with it. But I think that one there would be a right at the moment, high maintenance.
What's everybody else think? Have you looked at it?
I have, and now, have we been plowing all the way around?
yes.
And because if the answer is, we're going in and we're not backing up, we're going in and plowing all the way around.
Correct.
And if we've been doing it for 30 years,
Over 30.
and I'd be saying the people probably that live down in those houses down there are, just think it's a Fairhaven street. Wouldn't have any, right? I mean, I'm just,
No, when they sell the house, there's a deeded right of way that goes with it. Each house has a deeded right of way. That's what it comes up with the house. For each of the houses, there's a deed. It says they have the right to travel on that road. It comes with transferable with each house is bought and sold.
is there, I guess what I'm trying to find out is there a downside? Like if we said, hey, okay, let's formally start the process so that we're gonna take care of the road. Are there one or two people who live down there that says, wait a minute, I'm not so sure I'm for that, are we gonna run into problems with that?
Well, they can't. I own the road.
Oh, okay, so I forget the right person sitting here.
There we go.
Good.
So what exactly is the process? Is there a process part of it that talks about, what I read of it? We figure out whether we want it, we do. Is there cost analysis there or anything? There isn't any of that in that we don't look up and see what it's gonna cost us, right?
No, in fact, when talking with VLCT about it, the board can't use cost as the sole reason to say discontinue the road. It's the idea of what is a public good regardless of cost. So
Discontinue a road is
or change the road, I guess. Yeah,
the thing
You're telling me that we can't, if somebody come in and wants to have us take a road over, we can't specify how the road's gotta be?
I think that's the difference. I think it's the discontinue means it's already a road.
Right. But
In
it's
this
not,
case,
but
it's
it's
not.
not our road.
Yeah, in this case, it's not, so.
But the board can't, you couldn't say, well, that's gonna cost too much, we don't want to do it. There has to actually be a reason why it's not public good. You'd have to say, for example, well, it doesn't serve the entire public because it dead ends after 5 houses, for example. Or there's no need of right of way to move your water supply from point A to point B. You know, there's more to public good than just the cost of the road.
But was it your understanding that 30 years ago that it was your road, but you're saying, yeah, you can, it's your road, or is it still, oh, I see, I'm still trying to figure out that, because the fact that we've been plowing it and everything. So
You actually can do more than plowing. You can grade
we've
it.
been grading it, taking care of it, so for all practical purposes.
But the next question I have is, have we claimed that road in our mileage?
No.
Well, that would add up.
I don't believe you'll ever get enough out of it to maintain the repair to other section of the road.
Well, I'm just thinking that, we'd have to go mag it once and then we'd be just grading like we grade everything else. It wouldn't be that big a deal.
You gotta look at it this way. Yeah, the town's been doing it for 30 years, but they've been doing it out of just to help them out. I mean, there was never anything in writing
No, I understand.
that we were gonna do this. I mean, they did it just because
There is
probably goes back to when Louis was here. I mean,
probably,
I don't have a problem taking our part of it. I just feel we should really go through everything before we make a decision to start the process. I think we should really sit down and have even if we have a special meeting on this. I just think there's a lot of things that's got to be looked at.
The cost of the car.
I mean, or we could just not take the road over and make an agreement to continue doing what we're doing. They are taxpayers. I mean, come on, everybody pays taxes.
Exactly.
But not take the road over, not own it. If that way there, if there's something major, we're not responsible. We can still plow it. When we do it like a class 4 road. We grade it once a year. And
That's what you've been doing for 30 years.
well, that's what I'm saying, and not even bother changing ownership. I mean, because there's a lot involved here to change ownership.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, you got to go back and change everybody's deed, correct?
That's correct.
I mean, so would it just be better if the town made an agreement with you, a long-term agreement that we'd plow the road, grade the road once a year, and just take care of it when you have it? I mean, just so the people that there know.
That's what I said to Bob this morning.
That,
Just go back to what we're doing for the last 33 years.
Yeah, and just make it so it's something in writing, so everybody knows that that's what's going to happen, so we don't have, like, what started this whole thing is when we switched superintendents, and they realized it wasn't a town road. And that's when you start, that's when the.
Talk to Bud.
I haven't seen him. He just got out of the hospital.
I know, I tried to call him, but they didn't answer, so.
But,
I haven't seen him, but.
I think we should just discuss this more.
Okay,
Well, with some kind of an idea. I mean, to me, that was the easiest and the cheapest way of doing
I'm
it.
in agreement with that.
Because if you gotta start changing deeds, and if we gotta go survey the road, if we've gotta go, do all this other stuff, I mean,
Hurt my feelings.
we could even look at, we could ask the paving company what it costs to go in Bull Mag. That section where it is
Yeah.
asphalt. And just see and look at the numbers and see what they are. And then talk to you about it. See,
Yeah.
if you'd be willing to help part of it or something like that.
Okay.
And then just go from there.
So let me know.
Okay. I mean, that's my feelings. I don't know what the rest of the board.
Why don't we write up something, check with VLCT, they may even have some boilerplate language for these kind of situations. And see what they got, we can write something up, if it looks good to you, then we'll do the formal process of a motion.
Jake's the only one we got to deal with.
Right.
We don't have to deal with anybody else that's on that road. He's the one that owns the road. So whatever we decide to do with him, it's going.
Right.
I mean,
You just
that's
have to come to an agreement, that's all.
right. That's what I'm saying. That's all we got to do.
And that'll be formalized, at least we'll know that we're not, everybody will have.
The easiest way is to do what Jay just said, not to change. I mean, there'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 deeds you have to change.
Yeah, that's,
10, including mine.
And they'd have to sign off
Right.
before they could, to change the deeds.
So just an agreement to call it, maintain it, and to go back to what you've been doing for the last 33 years.
sounds good to me.
Make perfect sense.
For what we were going to get out of it on state, it'd be minimum. I mean, I don't believe it'd even pay to do what has to be done.
Okay.
All right, well, let's
Joe.
discuss that. If we find out that there's some hitch in that, get along, we'll certainly let you know.
Okay.
Well,
Did you have something, Jeff?
Joe, when you run that by VLCT, just see if he has to put that in his deed or how that gets attached to the land record.
all right, it sounds fairly simple.
802-282-5186.
Is that what I gave you? I can tell you. It doesn't sound like it.
802-282-5186.
I got it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming.
Talk to you later.
See you later.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye, Terry.
Fred, you've been waiting patiently. We'll keep you.
I'm a very patient man and I'll be very quick.
Oh, come on.
Oh, you won't be Sean Camara quick, I hope.
Oh,
10 years ago, I took over concerts in the park. And we developed into a pretty good thing going. We made a deal that anything that I purchased or anything that I bought, or anything, always got paid for by a purchase order through the town. I'm not here to throw Joe under the bus. Joe and I are good friends. Well, almost good. Anyways, the situation is, I signed a contract for the sound system. And I am going to provide each one of you a copy of the letter that I'm sending to you and the contract. I'm not going to stand up here and run my mouth. I want you to look at it and you tell me what you think. And I'll answer any questions you need me to answer. Sorry, Jeff, I didn't get one to you.
That's okay. Can you give me the 10,000 foot version?
They gave you what?
Just a,
10,000. Go ahead, Jeff.
just an quick overview.
I can help you out. I don't think you have one. What I'm looking at here looks like that basically when we had to cancel, the sound people still want their money because they claim there's a contract which is attached back in 2017 that says that we're going to pay one way or the other. I mean, am I oversimplifying that?
Oh, that's pretty
No.
much what it is.
Sounds right. Okay.
Now, the only thing you're not seeing there, Jeff, is that it looks like the amount, I'm looking at how much
It's $2,500.
$2,500 is what they're talking about.
$250 of performance for 10 performances. It's always been that, never changed. And
Okay.
what you also don't see, Jeff, is that we've got $20,000 in an account with the town to go towards the lighting in the park, of which the concerts in the park committee, we said we do 25,000. The 5,000 was in there this year. We haven't been able to have the concerts. Then we've got $3,500 put aside in the town coffers for scholarships that we have promised and we're obligated to. And we also have, and I'm going to just guess because I didn't get to talk to Jenny, but around $3,200 I'm going to pull off the ceiling that we haven't spent this year in this year's budget, of which we go towards the 2,500, and we still got money we're going to transfer to the, what do you call it, the town account, whatever. And
Okay.
it's just that I made a promise to this gentleman, and I'm not going to break my promise. Does anybody have any questions?
As of this report here, this is for the 16th of June. When this one came out, the one we just got, there is $2,750 in that account.
I made a mistake. I said 35. So at least we're not going to overflow it.
yes, 27.
Correct?
That is correct.
Now, there's nothing else going to come out of that. There's nothing else outstanding that's going to come out of this budget.
Not that I know of, no.
Not that I know.
And we're June 30th.
Yes.
So we could draw this money out of this account here before the end of the year. Vote on it.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes, it would come out of this year's budget.
This contract that you signed with,
Yes,
is that a contract, like a never-ending contract until things are done? I mean, this is what I'm reading in here.
oh, but look at the second.
Yeah, I read the contract.
Oh, okay.
But
I didn't think there was a hell of a lot of contract, but.
what I'm saying is, the way I'm reading it, unless the concerts are eliminated entirely, This is what the contract was for, $2,500 for as long as you have concerts.
That's correct. And I have to cancel January 1st.
January 1st.
And we kind of didn't know what was going on.
Well, we didn't cancel it until May, so. Much as I hate to do it, I'll make a motion that we take $2,500 out of that 2750 and leave the other balance in there and pay because of the fact that we couldn't cancel it when the contract stated we had to. And it's a contract, it's the way it's written, it's forever until we stop doing contract or concerts. I don't know, I mean, what do you, I mean, I'm your second.
I'll second.
I'd second, yeah.
Well, I mean, I know you're shaking your head, and I understand where you're coming from too.
Yeah, well, that's, so the contract, I mean, to the legal point, the contract's not valid anyway, for a couple of reasons. One, because it's a never-ending contract. Never-ending contracts are not, that's not gonna bind us in any way. The second, Fred doesn't have authority to sign a multi-year contract. Even I don't sign multi-year contracts. You know, it's, if there's a waste hauling contract, it's a 3-year contract, I bring it to the board and say, you won't do this. That, those points being aside, which I mean, that's just technical. All of our vendors, from A to Z, have not asked for this money when they did not provide service. No service was provided, and I understand there was a clause in there, but he's provided us nothing. But he still wants money. And I sitting in my office can't honestly sign a purchase order for $2,500 of taxpayer money to give to somebody who didn't even come to town. I just couldn't do it. And it's the board's decision, obviously, but I will not do that ever.
And that's why I'm here.
Didn't we pay the bands as well, Fred?
Not for next year.
Oh, okay. All right.
I got every band that was committed for this year except 2 committed for next year. And they said, okay, fine, we'll live through it. I have
Okay.
2 uncommitted, Starline Rhythm Boys and the Army Band.
Got it.
I owned a business at one time, and it was a small business, and I know what it is to have things set up and not be able to take care of them the way it's supposed to. But
That's right.
other than that, that's where we're at.
Yeah, I wonder what, I'm not saying how I feel, 'cause I'm not sure yet, but I wonder what the bands would think. Those are all people too that we know and some are from town that true, it's still a small business that they're running. I don't know, take Aaron Audette, for example. He makes his living with that, and he's been, good to forfeit it as everybody else did. So equity-wise, I wonder if it's the right thing to do.
The motion was made so we could discuss it. That's why.
Right, that's what I.
And I'll try to answer any questions I can. Obviously, I'm biased because I sent it.
It sounds like Fred has a plan with those vendors, and they're happy. I would support the motion.
I kind of do. And I'll tell you why, because the sound system has been much improved from a few years ago.
Well, I don't want to get into nuts and bolts, but when I started, we had 15 people. And then we're now up to 600 or 700, and Jim Heller, what a great job he did. But I gotta have a professional sound system to make it work. End of the story for me. I'll sit down and shut up.
I doubt that.
Yes, I will.
Would your vendor be willing to give us some additional services next time, let's say next year if we need it?
What are additional, I can't answer that, but what are additional services?
Memorial Day.
Yeah, like I could use the sound system for Fairhaven Fridays every now and then. Once or twice a Friday. Yeah, Memorial Day would be nice. That would be a show of good faith. It's like you didn't work this year, here's the money. but we would like you to come back next year and help us.
A show of good faith, my friend, is you're there every Thursday afternoon at 5 o'clock to set up and you do a great job. That's
doing
a show of good
That's
faith.
doing your job. A show of good faith would be.
No,
like
I don't want to
you-
argue with you because you and I aren't on the same page. I own the business
Well, you are.
and I know what it is.
Well, I did too.
That's
I
good.
understand. I 100% understand.
The thing about it is, you can't get mad at Joe for trying to save taxpayer dollars. That's his
I
job.
would never get mad at Joe.
That's his job. And I appreciate it.
Correct.
Now,
Give me a little bit.
I do
let me ask
appreciate
a
that,
question.
Joe.
What if,
And I will see Joe if I can get him to do something for nothing for us. I think he's gonna be pretty happy when he finds out that he got paid. We honored his contract. I think that's important. And if we need a sound system for some time in the summer, yes. Like you started saying Friday nights or something like that, and that might not happen.
okay, well, let's have Fred get in contact. Can we hold this money?
We have I can ask Jenny just to clarify, but since we have the invoice and this year's invoice, once it's paid, the bill will then be rolled back into this year. Even if it's
Okay,
a month.
what I'm saying is,
Yes.
let's go with the motion, whatever we have to do, and have Fred get in contact with him to see if he'd be willing to do some of this extra stuff next year, if we were to pay him now. And that way we have something that we can go back and tell somebody if they ask, well, we're getting extra services next year for what we paid this year. I mean, that way we're not jumping on somebody
I
blindsided.
can guarantee that I can get that accomplished. I just gotta be careful if somebody gets upset and they say, well, I want to hear every Friday night, I want this night. We gotta be careful of that, Joe. But other than that,
Well, I would think Memorial Day would be a biggie.
Yeah. Well, we
Yeah,
wouldn't
One
have,
of them.
we wouldn't
if
ask
he's
for every
not
Friday.
booked on Memorial Day someplace else, he will be here, I guarantee it.
Yeah, well, we wouldn't need him every night, but it would probably make me mad if we went through the whole summer and he's like, I'm all booked up, sorry. That would probably make me mad.
But he very well could be booked up already for next summer.
Well, I mean, then then we're just making empty promises. It's like, yeah, we'll do it, but, well, no, we won't do it.
I don't think he promised anything yet, did he? I guess that's my question is, what happens when he says he's busy next summer? I
I guarantee that he will be here for Memorial Day. I guarantee that. And
wow.
I think that's enough right there. But if you guys think different, that's your business.
We have a motion on, is there any other conversation?
Just, as long as the money is there from the budget, it's just getting over with, I can support myself. If you were talking new money, July 1, absolutely, I couldn't.
It is not new money.
I couldn't spend it. And because I get it, small businesses, I'm forgetting about where the contractors, small businesses are just trying to survive. And,
Yep.
I guess that's how it is.
And if anybody needs, let me just take 2 minutes, and Joe, you understand this too. The reason we have leftover money, Jenny hangs on to it for us, because we have a lot of expenditures in May and June, as you know, right, Joe?
Mm-hmm.
So we leave enough money there to cover us until, then if we get in trouble, we have money in our own account within the town, and we take care of things. But there's a lot of expenditures before June 30th with concerts in the park. And we take care of all that. Well, I didn't have to take care of it all, so the $2,500 for the sound system usually gets paid in September. But I can't pay it in September, and as long as I had the money, I thought we'd get it out of this year's budget. So, you know,
That was less than 2 minutes. I'm very proud of you.
I did the best I could.
Fred, you don't see any other payments like this coming? You think this is the end of it?
I can guarantee you 100% this is the end of it.
Okay.
Any other questions? Everybody understand the motion?
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All those opposed?
Aye.
4-1. Pay the bill, and we would like some consideration. I think that's the,
I will work with them.
and I,
The possibility though is there that this will happen again next year.
Right.
So we ought to have a
Have
more
this
reasonable
contract.
contract.
Yes.
Definitely.
So that this is not a
I think,
problem.
I think you're right. I think there should be a new contract written, and if something like this is to come up again, the understanding that there would be, I think a new contract should be written.
Yeah, and I'm not trying, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to be mean to the guy.
No, no,
I don't even know the guy, but it just,
well, it's a fair price.
it is.
I mean, it's a fair price. All of it is, and
Let's, if we're gonna do this, if we're gonna honor a contract that was written like this, we should have a legal, regular contract with it.
I'll tell you, they're gonna need a legal contract. It has to be signed in September for the next year, and it has to be canceled by January 1st, and you gotta pay it again. I mean, when did that ever happen in our lifetime?
No, she's telling us.
hopefully never again.
And I hope
I wouldn't bet on it.
Good.
Well, but now that we know it's out there, I mean, the town has to be protected and he's got to be protected.
Yeah, and everybody's gotta know what the parameters are.
Right.
And
It can't be a run-on contract.
Are we okay?
We're good.
We're good.
And it's worth, and it is worth saying again that Joe is just trying to be a good steward of town funds.
Absolutely.
I have no problem, Joe.
Joel's approval.
I am a cheap, yes, I am. I'm very frugal.
Thank you.
See you later.
Thank you, Fred.
Drop back to town manager's report, unless, John, do you have anything in health?
I can tell you quick about the playground project. You guys approved when that opened. Playground. We had to go with the state run, the state, that's rules on COVID-19, which would be the 6-foot separation. And, when a person, or one of the kids, uses a swing set or whatever, we have to have a hand sanitizer. That person used before they go on that swing set when they get off. And, you know, like I told Joe today, we got one restroom open on the stairs. I suggested that we use the ramp. And also the ramp needs to have the my needles taken off, because it's slippery there, the ramp. And the other thing is, you need somebody to oversee the hours of operation, like the 9 in the morning, 3 in the afternoon, which could be our electric director. We have money in budget for that. Somebody's got to be there, lots of going on.
Is the playground open?
Yes.
All parks are open.
And the other thing is, we need a sign down there telling the COVID regulations, right? And when it comes to face masks, that's up to you people, if you want it mandatory or not. What the state says, that's the way that is. It's not, I gotta do what I just told you, keep the thing open. It is, we should have some, like, so is it possible to use that director to run the thing?
I'll talk with Nicole and see what she has done.
So there's no onus on the parents to,
You know as well as I do, kids come down there, they're down there.
Well,
but you put a town employee there overseeing it. And it changes a lot of things.
You can require that only kids can go there and the parents go.
Yeah.
Well, if you put the employee there, that changes who's
All I'm
responsible.
saying, you know, like
Right.
Rod said, you can tell anyone, they gotta have a parent with them when they're down there.
The only part that I'm trying to visualize is so just the parent takes their children down and are we leaving ourselves open with when they leave? They may clean the piece of apparatus they're gonna use. like the slide of the swing, with their own sanitizer or wipe. But after they get done, they're gonna leave.
We have to put a sanitizer station.
How,
But how about cleaning the equipment? They don't,
Old Horner's gonna sanitize that equipment every time you
Spray it,
wipe it down, spray
like you
it?
do,
Yeah.
like you do a golf cart, spray it.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
That's
So
why
are we gonna do that?
town employees,
Our trouble is,
Seems like a use at your own risk kind of scenario.
Dave says that's not the way to go.
Yeah, I don't think we can do
you
that
don't,
right now.
that's, right, that's what, I think that's what we're doing now, Jeff.
We either do
Okay.
what I'm saying,
All right.
or we don't do it at all.
Yep, we're using it on this.
well, I think if we, I don't know how you clean the apparatus.
I'd rather see it.
I think you gotta spray it. But
We don't have the sprays there, but.
be a little, you have a $20 pump tank.
You have to understand though,
Disinfect.
about what you're gonna do for your salary. You got somebody there,
We had the rec department salary, but
John is not gonna cover it
For 12 hours a day
for the recreation salary for the director is $5,200 or $5,500. And for total summer wages, it's $14,000. And you're gonna have this park open from now until at least October.
well.
And you tell me,
I don't think it has to be open for.
and if you're working 7 hours a day, it's not gonna take long to eat up the salary.
I wouldn't recommend much longer than when school starts.
Who's gonna take care of it when school starts?
That's up to the school.
No, it's
No,
a,
it's still ours.
It's still town property.
Still town property.
Either we better stop them from using it, totally. We don't have the money to keep somebody there full time.
I think I would like to, it's funny, I'm just talking to my son, his kid was hurt today, first time. And I don't know, I know his mother, so everything was sanitized, but I don't know that there was, I wish I'd known we were having this conversation, I would have asked, because I don't, Essex has a lot of money, but I don't think they've got people stationed there. I'm sure that.
Joe, is there any federal money out there or anything like that?
Oh, I can check. I'll check. I'm sure there might be something to pay, right?
Until we know for sure. I know it's a terrible thing to have to do this, but why don't we shut the playground down again? Just down there. Leave the park, leave the airport and all the rest of the stuff open. Until we find out what can be done, what can't be done. Because
even if I just want to throw out, I'm with you, I think. But even if we hired a full-time employee to be at the playground and sanitize behind all these kids, how would they possibly keep up?
I think we need to look into what the state says.
Right.
And actually see what the regulations are, because I know it was 2 months ago, the governor was on his press conference and they opened up low contact or no contact sports in the state, which you're looking at a baseball. So, I called VLCT and they said it was up, we wanted to baseball. So you can't really say, well, the park's closed, and then say, well, low contact sports open. So you're playing kickball, get there. What if I pulled some information and brought it to the next meeting? I'll give VLCT feedback.
You could potentially, I mean, you have to see what that is, certainly, but you could potentially close down the equipment use and let things go on like soccer or baseball, or where they're not all touching the same equipment.
That's fine.
There've been a lot of, I took a ride down there a couple times. Quite a few of the older kids are playing basketball. We do have parents bringing their little ones down and playing on the.
Yeah. But the equipment might be more of a problem than,
Yeah, swings,
gotta find out.
slides and stuff.
Yeah.
But I know that they opened the park in like I said, Essex, and I'm sure they're not stationed.
Let's get the verification.
Let's find out again.
I hate to shut it down before we got it all together. Just upset a bunch of things.
In the meantime, can we put some sort of a sanitation station down there just to have, So there's
Hand
some hand
sanitizer.
sanitizer, something that,
There's also, I mean, the trailer's open and there's water there, so you can wash your hands
Yeah.
inside.
okay, well, you know,
If you get a couple things like Bob's saying, put them on a post, a
yeah,
couple different places.
just so we're making an effort.
Around the playground.
And if we find out that's not sufficient, then we go to the more drastic.
Like I said, it's up to you guys if you want to wear a mask or not. That part of it. So,
It's my experience with the state, and Vermont's been fabulous with their response, but they have been bouncing around. So we had people working and then not working and off, and it caused a lot of trouble with just jumping in without asking first.
Well, see if we can get some sort of clarification.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Back to town manager, we're kind of bouncing around here.
Yeah,
Speaking of bouncing around, town manager reporting communication, seeing if you're the only department head.
Okay, we're gonna start with some excellent news. Pete Laramie, though he does retire this year, he received the Operator of the Year award from the state.
Nothing.
Nice.
Jim Heller nominated him, and he was awarded.
We're talking about, is he staying for the 8 hours a week?
He is. Pete's agreed to stay on for 1 year, until his license expires. He's going to stay on as a contractor for at least 8 hours a week.
We're not gonna need the gentleman with that outfit for 75,000.
No, we're saving. It's going to be about $10,000.
How much?
About $10,000 saved.
We're gonna pay him 65,000 for 8 hours a day,
No, it wasn't
8
70.
hours a week?
No, it wasn't 75. Are you talking about Simon the contractor?
Yeah, it was 75,000 a year for that outfit in here, wasn't it?
No. It,
I think it was 35.
yeah, I was going to say 37, but yeah, 35.
Okay. So we got a savings.
Yes.
What's, for the operator of the year, what's that entail? Is there like some sort of, well, probably not, some sort of recognition that
piece of paper.
we should, you know?
We certainly should put it in in our.
Regular.
We
I was just
should,
gonna say,
Something
congratulations.
to, yeah,
Better-
recognize it.
we should put it on the website, Facebook and everything. I mean, it's kind of cool.
Normally they do that at that big conference. They have the water conference, and they recognize somebody at that point.
Uh-huh.
But that. I know.
Well, let's, yeah, there you go,
Carol.
WCA. Well, he's not old enough.
Well,
Wait till he's older.
he does the super senior,
Okay.
but that's not what I was thinking. Maybe you could just,
Well, actually, call WCAX, you know, they'll probably find out about this anyway, but we should put it in, we should blow it up on our stuff
Yeah, we sure will.
and just give him the credit it's due. And the fact that he's gonna work,
There's been up and down.
that's a big deal.
Yeah.
I was talking to him the other day, he can't go on the strip.
Yeah.
But that's the bottom line, he can't go anywhere.
Are they gonna go to Spain or?
He's gonna be gone for like 3 months.
I think he was gonna
But anyways,
Do that.
the other good part of that is that with him being there in the start of this project, I think that's very important. And I think just having him there is going to be certainly in our favor. Just, and I told him the other day, I was really happy to hear that he was staying, and for that reason. But I think we should do something. Or, I mean, whatever, bloom and some flowers. At least recognize, give the fact that he's done such a good job.
Well, yeah, and he is retiring, so we should be thinking of that as well.
I wasn't sure what we could do. We'll figure it out.
We should do something,
We should.
although,
Moving for Peter. I don't know if you saw People magazine, but the mayor ended up in People two Fridays ago. That's exciting. Glenn and I met with Stafford.
Yes.
Stafford,
Bill Lucci.
Bill Lucci from Stafford, about the work study program. He was great to talk to. He had a lot of ideas. He's going to work on a little bit on his end. And he told me they have some great trainings for the staff. So I've actually been picking away at those, trying to find something for town hall as well as DPW. Oh, July 10th, we should be getting our tax numbers from the state. I got an update today that it was, they originally said July 1, they bumped it back to July 10. Oh, we got the grant documents in for the parking lot and the lights in the park. So we should be spinning that up hopefully sooner than later. Viking Pedestrian grant, you guys remember we were doing that last year? That's finally coming to an end July 14th. We'll have the final public hearing. If the public wants to add their comments, we'll take that and incorporate it, and then we'll be done with it. Not that it was that big of a lift anyway. And Furnace Street, nobody's here from Furnace. I did have a young man come in, and he was concerned about what we were going to do to Furnace Street. He said if we just grind the hump off and pave it, him and his neighbors were concerned that it wasn't going to fix their water problem that they're having in their cellars. I was hoping they would be here, but I'll bring it to the board and see, is the board still interested in moving forward with Furnace, or do you need more information? Or I think the folks down there would like to see some kind of stormwater system in it. I don't think just paving is something.
What if we swapped, instead of going Furnace Street, Grape Street?
Great.
That really.
Because Grape Street's a mess on the other end. Down where you go into where Boule is, that's terrible, huh? I mean,
Over on that land.
Grape Street wasn't on our project.
It wasn't.
It never empty, it's always full.
Grape is not,
It was for next year.
Well, that's,
well,
Just swap them out. With the
I could ask. I have. Let's see. Where's
it'll be approximately the same length that we've got.
pretty close.
but that other end, either they gotta go grind that stuff off, put gravel, or you can't even drive down through there. It's terrible.
We might be able to get an overlay on Grape Street.
But we gotta do the other end up. The other end should be taken care of,
The far end.
the far end, even if you pave from the intersection on, what is it? Those streets goes across. Phelps Avenue down to the other end.
That needs to be wrong.
So Furnace is 0.22 mile and Grape is 0.26. So it's pretty close. We might be able to squeeze that in. But yeah,
Didn't we save some money when we took that other street out, the Third Street?
a little bit, but I'll have to crunch the numbers again.
That certainly is more than 4/10 of a mile, or 4, I would think. Well,
But Furnace Street, aren't they still gonna keep flooding for the next year? I mean, that's not gonna make them happy, is it?
Oh, no, that will make them remarkably angry.
Yeah.
If we just don't do anything, but.
you
Yeah,
don't do anything, they're gonna,
Well,
well, Mr. Howard.
if they're
Yeah,
looking for drainage, we just can't say, okay, we're gonna have drainage, take a couple holes.
Yeah.
We gotta figure that out.
I thought we talked last summer this time, and Sam was going to go put a test type of thing to see if that was, I don't know the right word for it, but it was.
A blind manhole.
And it was like a manhole with sand and everything, when it didn't have pipes that went anywhere, and they were gonna see if that worked. We didn't do it, right?
No,
So at a minimum, if we're not going to pay, we better be putting something to take some of that water.
we could.
How do they feel that their cellars are being flooded? I've gone down through them many times when there's been raining. And you don't see water going across lawns.
When Donnie was talking to me, the biggest issue he had was winter time, I thought, when water.
With the snow.
Well, tell them to not look at my garage in the winter time when it rains. When I'm pumping 6 inches of water up the garage. And that comes off the road, so
That's the problem, the water table is fine.
Well, no, it's not the water table.
I'm sorry.
Right down there. But I'm just saying, I'm just saying, I guess they've really got to prove to me that the water is coming off that road into their cells.
I would have to agree with that. I've never been part of a paving project that I didn't have one person say, your road is not putting water in the basement. It would always happen.
And on the other hand, by grinding the center of that road down so you don't have such a high arch or high pitch, you're not going to get the runoff to begin with. The water isn't going to run the way it was before. That's true.
And on Furnace, don't we have storm drains at each end of the street? It's just for some reason, one of the water doesn't run to the storm drains.
I can tell you when that happened, but it was a long time.
We could, so something I had thought, if the board was interested in getting some kind of engineering study, there's more than enough money to cover that, and then we could actually get somebody to say, definitively yes or no, the road is the problem. And then if it is a problem, this is the solution. And then move paving to next year.
That's what I was saying. It's absolutely foolish to do anything and then find out what we did exacerbated the problem, or didn't do anything, but we got to do this and tear the whole road up again.
Yeah.
That's what you had.
I mean, so if it's, they'll be mad that we don't do anything, but if we're going to do this, we got to do it right.
Yeah, you'd hate to be the person to put down blacktop and then tear it back up a year and a half later because
Well, it's a tradition in Fairhaven, but I just assume not follow it.
My suggestion would be to swap over to Grape Street. And if somebody asks about it, say we're going to study it, and we're try to figure out some way to take care of the water. We're not going to pave it, that's the problem.
Right.
Could you be proactive though? Each resident a letter to say it's going to be studied because it's been.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'd let them know and try to not have the chaos ensue.
Yeah, you can put it in, like she just said, put it in there like, we're not going to pay, if you're worried about raising the road, we're going to wait and have a study done, make sure what we do is right.
Road engineer,
see what we can do with Grape.
I just want to make sure everybody noticed that Jay just called for a study.
I did, but I didn't want to say anything.
I didn't call for a study, I just said we should look at it.
Sorry.
I was going to say, use a different word than study, but it was too late.
Sorry, Jay.
Studies.
That's all right, Jeff. We gotta.
No, I completely agree.
But we gotta do something so that the public knows what we're doing. And her suggestion of sending letters to them, I think is a great idea. And that way there, we're not just ending the situation and walking away.
Yep, completely agree.
Yep, we're hearing what the residents have.
So Jeff, we'll do a study on that road.
Yeah.
I'll second that, Jay.
Okay.
What else you got?
And we're only in the manager's report. My goodness, we're getting this.
Yeah, I know. It's a long day.
I did get a letter from a young lady. She was asking about. She sent me some questions. Food for thought, she says. And I gave you a copy of those. She asked about the food scrap program that's starting tomorrow. Should start tomorrow. There are bins at the transfer station.
Well, that's what I was just going to ask. They're giving those to residents? The bins? Oh, no, the bins to collect it. I heard the state had bins.
Yeah, so there was something posted on Facebook, and the transfer station is directing people, and they have flyers from the state, talking about why. And I did post something earlier saying, we appreciate the help if you do this, but we're not tearing into anybody's bags. Like if it smells like rotten meat, we're not doing that.
I just have a trouble with people backing up neighbors. Stuff in their food scraps in the backyard, all the stuff from down to the possums.
We're gonna have a nice.
Bobcats in our house.
We're gonna have a wild animal.
Scary.
Yeah,
That's pretty long.
We got a bear spotted on the cactus cemetery back.
We've seen one in our yard.
On the same one. I don't want.
She also asked about the alley, about the,
Did you get what the alley is?
yeah, I didn't know what you meant by, I understood alley. I
Yeah,
didn't
but
know
I sent another email.
in the alley downtown. She asked about the rock wall on 4th Street. I haven't forgotten about that. It's just one of those things that's still sitting out there. Or we'll get it, I just don't know when. Crack ceiling, we didn't do any last year. As the budget permits, I do want a crack seal in 2020. That's an important thing. It just preserves the road. The Council on Aging says thank you for the donation that we gave them, $1,800. And that's all I have.
806.28, where we stopped on the board.
Moving right along, unless anybody's got something for the town manager. Salt shed replacement and town garage discussion.
So I've been in discussion with the state as part of our salt shed grant. It seems silly to get a wetland survey for just one small portion when the intent was to actually put the town garage down there. So I had the entire airport surveyed for wetland. Most of it, they are saying is wet. That doesn't stop the project, that just makes it more of an administrative hassle.
In terms of what?
In terms of now we have to justify why we would want to put a town garage on wetland. We have to go and say, well, we're actually pulling our garage out of the floodplain, which is great. And even though we are putting our garage in a wetland, we're going to let what would be the proposal, I suppose, is we will let so many acres of the airport grow up tall. So that way it's always going to be grown.
Trade-off.
Yeah, it's a trade-off.
When I looked at it, the armory that was a good big piece, that wasn't wetland when they put that in there?
I don't know.
I mean, it looks like it depends on who's asking the question when they want to put something in. Because if you don't put something in right here, they had to be similar buffer, wetland, that makes a difference.
They raised it up about 3 feet.
So we bring in some of the stuff and we start it up a little bit and put them right there, no problem with wetland.
Yes.
Rules have changed, and what class? Class 4?
Oh, she didn't tell. I don't have the report with me.
We got plenty of fill up there, right?
I know that up that ditch down through there that used to be there for years and years and years, and helped a lot of that wetland.
Yeah. So,
Not sure even that's, I just put it down on the.
Sorry, we're not.
it's stating that.
Or
But so
I-
today,
tagline. I mean, you show.
sorry,
I called Joe when I saw this map, and I said, "What are you crazy?" And he said he actually asked the person who did the determination, and she laughed at him and said, "All airports are wetlands."
she did. She laughed at me.
I find this just incredibly hard to believe. But
We just renamed it, not
It's not an airport.
some municipal.
no, it was just apparently that's where people cited airports. But with all the drainage
They're
that's
flat.
been done down, yeah, because they're flat. But I think with all those French drains down through there, like Jay said, on both sides of the runway, I mean, it's not usually that wet out there. I mean, if you want to drive a camper, they tend to get planted. But I was surprised to see that they delineated the whole place wetland.
Where you're looking at putting in the garage is where that building has been set for years.
Hangar.
And that's the point of, that's what I'm asking today, is I wanted to make sure that the board was still interested in putting the salt shed in the original spot, kind of right there at the corner, but where the,
You drive straight into it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then
The garage going down toward where the salt shed, or where the hangar used to be. Yeah.
over, okay. But I'm just making sure we're all on the same page.
I mean, that was never wet around the hangar, never.
No, I know, and they just,
So,
No.
I mean, I think we're in good shape myself. I think we should proceed with the salt shed and look at the town barn
Yep.
later on.
Every time we have some film, put it up there. Make not.
There needs to be a dump shed, no questions about that. We can't-
Well, I mean,
But we gotta look at that.
Drainage and there's stuff.
So, and the state, to the state's credit, they are very much in favor of this project. They've been, the Army Corps of Engineers, the same way. They think it's great that we're getting our,
The other thing.
our garage and ourselves away from the river.
That's
Which
all
is
coming
exactly
out.
what they want. So, okay, I'll
tell
move forward.
them to
with that.
send some money,
It's okay.
Spend a lot of money.
more money. Enough said, Lewis Lane is done. Town Hall project update.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to get this on the screen in front of you. I did print the, plans that were sent over by the architect.
Before we get into that, we have a quick question.
Yeah.
Did we ever get the report on this building? Whether it's stand, all this reconstruction, or whether it's been condemned, hasn't been condemned?
Can I offer something?
I'm,
This building was condemned when, H. Kenneth Allen, the fire chief, we had an incident during a Halloween thing upstairs, and a floor problem. And this building was condemned by the fire safety and also people.
Let's just see what's there. I mean, is there a report on that? Is there a report somewhere about that?
about the, I never could find a condemnation. I talked to the fire marshal, he came, I had two fire marshals here. They came out, toured the place, and I'm not doubting it, I just don't know where to find this information, or if it was just a rumor that got, because you know, rumors spread, so I can't find anything.
Why couldn't we do a cursory thing, because they had fire safety and wants to come in?
He already did. He already has. He's had two people here.
I've had two fire
Did
marshals.
they give you a report?
Yes.
So what have we got to do to bring up the code?
He
With the wiring, we know the wiring, but
didn't
no
say,
insulation.
Let's,
The main
go
thing
through,
is, we just want to find out if the building's solid and that we can move, if we're going to put money in the building, let's make sure we're not throwing it in and then not be able to use the building.
well, have you got the report back from the beam,
we did, we got that back, he does recommend, reinforcing that main beam across and then putting an additional support column in. I sent the report over to Todd Ferguson, and he hasn't responded yet, but I asked him how much it costs to do what that report said.
do these guys know about that?
Yes. I'm gonna try to put this on the big screen. Didn't have an opportunity to test my.
Let me do this clear.
Oh, I can see that.
Yeah, those papers aren't the best.
Let me get closer.
No, it really doesn't help that much, does it? I'll make it bigger over here. Jeff, can you see that?
It's looking really good.
Okay, so right here where the cursor is in that gray box, that says listers, but that's not listers anymore. That's just a closet. The gray box, that's where the elevator is supposed to go. That's the major component of this project, is gaining access to the second floor. That's the basement. Okay.
So
The elevator is over here.
Yep. So where the, Carol, like I was saying, the gray box where the cursor is there?
Yep.
That's the intended location for the elevator. Right next to town clerk, where you talked about at the window?
Yep.
Yep, right there. And I was saying, that's the major component of the project. The second floor, which is to the left of that, where this cursor is again, that's where the elevator would daylight onto the second floor. If you're in the big room and you're looking, so there's this door here that kind of goes back in no man's land towards the fire department, next to that plywood wall. They intend to punch a hole in the wall right here, so that way you gain access directly from the elevator into the big room. Also, let's see if I can't find it. Also, the second component of the project, which was required by the grant. So here's the elevator again. That's the first floor, and then the second floor. Elevator again. Hole in the, is this my second floor or is that my basement? That's the basement. I'm looking for the second floor. That's not it. That's not it. There we go. Okay, so the second big component is the addition of ADA restrooms on the second floor. So again, here's the elevator. Hole is punched in the wall right here where the cursor is. That first big room that's just mainly used for storage of junk will be converted into a partial. We'll put up some walls, put in the ladies' room and the men's room, both ADA compliant.
Not only that part.
No, and that was the idea, that if you're going to have events, they wanted the bathroom on the second floor to be close, and they didn't want you to have to go downstairs.
So the multi-purpose room is for events?
Yes.
That'll be the main purpose, town events.
Town hall, or town meeting.
Town
Anything like that. Right after you get to school.
And the school has, so our rec director works at the school.
Mm-hmm.
And she's saying there is always trouble finding locations for finding gym time for little kids.
Right.
So this would be a great spot to have some little kid playtime. Just, it's just for the parents to come and drop some kids off and have some recreation. Not the rest of it is the schematic for it. You guys can peruse as you like. The third component is fourth, there's two other components of it. The third would be the fuel tank, which I've reached out to the state and they're working on that loan for us. Mike's Fuels, I've tried to get in touch with him this week, no luck, but he's the one that won the bid.
Who did the school?
I think that was Star. It was
We
Star.
never get the answer.
He never would. And then the fourth part is the heating system. And that's the heating system. So all of this is going into one RFP, the elevator, bathrooms, general refurbishment, and heating system will go into one RFP, and it will be a kind of an a la carte thing. If the board chooses to do one thing as opposed to another, or if one costs too much, you guys be able to pick and choose what you want to buy.
What's the total cost as it stands now?
It was 300 and I forget. We have about 350 budgeted for it.
Go ahead, but are they gonna do like foam insulation and outside walls and stuff?
That's not part of it. I want it to be part of it, but
And what's the the amount of the grant that's been given?
the BCDP grant, not a block grant, community development grant, that was 200,000.
Mm-hmm.
The town has fronted about 100,000. And USDA is sitting on 50,000, which they haven't told me that it's ours yet, but they keep nudging that it is. So I'm
That's
counting.
a loan though, right? Not a post grant?
It's money, yeah.
Okay.
the fuel tank replacement is a no at 0%.
And we have the $100,000 already set aside. So,
Is there wiring to be done in that thing?
I would say as an improvement, I don't,
Yeah.
if you're putting in new bathrooms, you gotta rewire.
It would be
Put a
the,
new heating system.
If they put a new heating system, they gotta rewire. I mean, and anything they run to that second floor, it's gonna be new wire.
yeah,
They can't go. I mean,
Yeah.
Has to
just
be
can't do it.
Got an elevator going.
Yeah, I would say,
Well, I would think that the whole building would have to be probably over wiring.
no. We did have a mechanical engineer come in and give us cost estimates. I think I've handed that out at least once. And wiring was part of it. Obviously, fire suppression is part of it. Yeah, just,
the biggest part,
Pay for the whole thing? That sounds very cheap.
I was shocked too, but we'll see what the bid, this is their estimate. We'll see what the bids look like. Like the fuel tanks, right? We were estimated at about
Right.
20. It came in closer to 45.
It's an elevator.
But I'm guessing the heating system is gonna be a lot more.
I don't know what one firm's handle.
wasn't the main concern about the wiring was just the boxes in the cellar?
Yeah.
Wasn't that the main thing? I mean,
A lot of
it wasn't so much the wiring in the building, it was the main, breaker boxes and stuff like that.
A lot of the wiring here does not have a ground truth. I want to know what's.
Her grandfather,
It was the main breaker panels. I think it was the main breaker panel's ability to take a generator hookup that really spurred on a lot of the electrical discussion in the first place with her.
so if we get the upstairs the way we want, how are we doing the upstairs?
No.
No, I didn't know if we, I furnace and when I think about it more, we're gonna try to do something like the efficient, heat pumps or something like
that's what I
that.
thought was supposed to be.
And maybe we get some funding discount or something.
Exactly. It'd be,
Then you have air conditioning as well, because you can't, you gotta have air conditioning as well.
The new furnace was just for the,
just right here, just for the
main
first
floor,
floor.
yeah.
The heat pumps, we already, because you have to go through all of this, process with the state because of the historic building. They've already given us the go ahead to put the heat pumps above the fire station and then piped in to the big one.
What's the next step?
The architect that provided these, USDA is reviewing them. And he's drafted the RFP. He will be releasing that soon. I don't have a release date for that yet.
And then we get the stickers, right?
I'm terrified. I have reached out to, so,
I mean, the elevator.
It's more than 350.
I mean,
It is,
How much
really.
cost for that one?
it's a lot cheaper than you think. I was shocked.
We'll see, I mean, there's no need to second guess people, but we'll see.
I
What size elevator?
full size. I did,
ADA client.
yeah, I did reach out to VCDP and I have a meeting with him Thursday. I actually told him, I said, this is gonna come in a little bit more than what you offered us. I said, because I asked them, can you supplement the grant? And they have $100,000 they can, augment the grant with. So we just need to make a case for that. So all we can do is try and
How do you decide who gets the ability to have a bid at it?
to bid on the project. So the state has their own website that they run that they like us to post to. We'll post there. We'll post on VLCT. And what I don't know what the state does, but I personally send the people that I know. This way I can get the word out.
Okay.
Yeah.
something you said about?
Anything else?
No, that's pretty much it. I'm,
Waiting to see what happens.
that's what I'm waiting to see what happens to. Everybody else.
Any questions?
No, I just, that one of the things you're probably thinking about is that when we do all this, utilities, the price of utilities and things are gonna go up. So if there's something like, you know, how the, whether it's solar panels, the 7,000 a year for if you went and used, some of your solar power or whatever discounts, we still hold a bunch of discounts right now in our back pocket.
I think
That we
the
haven't
credits,
used yet, because of the, we haven't done any with hydro.
Hmm.
I don't know, but I'm saying,
We don't, they're not ours. If you,
are there credits? Aren't there
there's
some credits?
credits, there's credits if you have a project,
Right.
but you don't hold them, they're not yours. If you have $1 million project, you get X amount of credit, but you don't get it, you don't get to keep, you don't have them. You know, like Fairhaven is a lot of X amount of credit. You know, so.
No, I was just looking to say, how can I offset, you know, we're gonna have increased utilities when we put this renovation. in. How do we offset that so we're not passing that on? I know we can do energy efficient things.
Yeah.
But things like
And then you
solar,
get credits for that.
like, sun common.
Yeah.
For solar, and then maybe try to generate some power for the town office complex. Just.
Maybe just panels, maybe just panels on the roof.
Yeah, roof panels or so much.
Although you have to be careful because it's a historical roof.
yeah.
No facade up, so you can't see the roof.
Well, yes, yes.
But yeah, I hear you. No, good.
Yeah, if you guys have any questions or just, you know, how you get over it.
Playground has been spoken of ad nauseam. Parking lot, anything in here jumping out at anybody? We talked about Lewis Lane.
Still gonna talk this or just. Local option.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, and it's in the parking lot. So the local option tax, I have been working on the informational guide or flyer, whatever you want to call it. This is the first draft. I don't think it's too bad, but let me let me know what you think. Yeah, I'm just, because I want to make sure that the board's opinions are expressed clearly in this. This isn't just Joe's opinion, right?
Because there seems to be a lot of Facebook negativity about the option tax, and I question how factual 50% or more of the information, because people aren't using real facts. So I think the sooner we can get some real facts out to everyone so that they're making an informed decision.
It's already out there.
Well,
But the people that have made their statement do not know anything about it.
but when I saw statements that are totally
Oh,
incorrect,
I
that
know.
are totally incorrect, and people are taking this back and running with it and saying, I agree with this one, I agree with that one, and I'm saying, it's just like this
And they're just saying
COVID-19
this is
thing
wrong.
that went on, that
Have
people
we-
just go,
Actually voted to put this on the ballot.
No, you guys talked about the language, but there's a set process that the state mandates. We have to have first meeting, second meeting. First meeting, you vote on the language, second meeting, it's good, third, then you go and vote.
The first thing that jumps out at me is you already got the vote for November 4th, or November 3rd. I would,
Oh, that would be right now as the timeline sits, that would be the vote day.
yeah, I get that, but I mean, if you send this out, were you planning to send something like in the water bills or?
I wasn't thinking water bill. We had good success with the transfer station handout. And then just posting it where we could post it.
Okay, I'm just saying that to me says we've already decided that we're going to do this.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. I'll see what I can do.
I mean,
Right.
you can say if, you know, if we
Just
do,
say-
if voted, if.
Just say
our-
tentative.
Right, what we're doing is gathering information to make, I see what you're doing, and I agree, to decide after we get all the information and have our face-to-face information meeting.
We haven't got to the point of actually voting to do this.
Yep.
My guess is we will. And that's what I've been telling everybody, but I haven't, unless I really am blanking.
I like the back part, where you've got to estimate on what your taxes will go up, what your sewer bills are gonna go up, if it's 1%.
Yeah, it's all legitimate, it's really good information, and I answered a Facebook thing, which is not going very well.
I don't.
I know, but I don't.
He can't help himself.
No, I can't.
Ah,
I'm better off.
I can't, but I said I've opposed this tax, but I'm having a tough time finding anything that's better.
I did say to Paul down at the Maplewood Inn, he was discussing one the other day. I said, I understand where you're coming from. First of all, I don't know why you're telling people are coming to rent what the tax is. You should be telling them a flat rate. My room is $100 a night with everything included, instead of saying $98 plus tax. And I said, furthermore, would you rather do it that way, or would you really like to see 2% on your tax bill?
And yeah.
And he said, well, what do you mean 2%? I said, well, the money's got to come somewhere. I said, and the 800 people that are on the sewer plant, can't afford it.
Well, that's what I said. I said it's really not legitimate to do that.
And I said to him, I said, this helps the entire town. Right? We get a new plan in. If a big business wants to come in here, we're going to have the capacity to take care of it. I mean, it's a win-win situation, even though it's going to be costly.
you know, it kind of rubs me the wrong way, although I know it is really the intent behind a lot of it. It's just the way it says, if you like the idea of having New Yorkers and other towns help pay for Fairhaven's debt, and I get it, that's what it's all about, but it just sounds like, let's screw the other people, and you know what I'm saying? It kind of hits me the wrong way, although that is the message that people will, is there a different way to word
I
it?
can reword that.
No, I
worded said, wouldn't you rather have everybody that comes into Fairhaven?
Or it won't solely be on the
not say
Fairhaven
New York State?
residents?
Don't-
Yeah, it's the New
Don't,
York State,
And, you know,
New Yorkers.
which I just thought of, something you may be able to incorporate is that how people from outside the town are using our sewer system if they're at a restaurant, or if they're at a
Gas station.
gas station, or if they're at a ball game or whatever. That's a stretch, but I mean, they are using our sewer system and they're not paying for it. I guess they're paying for it in the cost of the state, but that's.
And is this number, I'm going back, I had a long conversation with Paul too, where it says, how much money are we talking about? The state of Vermont economists estimate revenue. Who are the state of Vermont economists? Is there
The people that stay in the tax department, right?
Yeah,
is there a different way to say it that's more, I just think they might pick at that, like, what's that group? I never heard of it.
Yeah, it's the Department of Tax.
Department of Tax.
Yeah.
Can you say that instead?
It's funny, I had that in there and I changed it because I thought economist sounded fancy.
Yeah, but I think it might sound like that's BS.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and, you know, Paul makes he's the catalyst behind a lot of the opposition. He makes a good point that those numbers aren't probably correct in
Anymore,
the near future.
right.
Oh, this number does take into effect COVID. That's a code number, or this number was downgraded by 20.
Because it was 150 something, right?
157.
Yeah, and they use their calculation for us, what they use for the state when they're looking at their revenue.
And I think if we had the lady from Fairhaven Inn that was worried about the timing not being right, so it's a year to 2 years out. Bill hasn't even asked for approval at the legislature, which he has to wait till next session.
There's another just grammatical error under, so what does that do to my sewer and tax bill? It's under your sewer bill will go up if the 152,000 payment is put on the sewer bill residence. It's put on the, you're missing either a comma or another word. It's put on the sewer bill residence, they will see an increase, or you will see an increase of about.
Oh, yeah. I think I can use a comma there.
Yeah, one of the others, it doesn't really make sense.
Residents receive increase.
Instead of what you included.
Sure.
Instead of what. If the payment is.
Yeah.
If the payment is included.
See, now you get things.
You've got one position, you've not ready to align.
And I see the towns, like you're saying, Killington, I'm pretty sure Rutland Town is a 1% option tax.
There.
Rutland City has something that's similar to that. I think it's more, it's right, they have a way of taking more than 1%.
They do.
And,
I'm a little sensitive too about, actually advocating for where it says vote yes.
Oh, okay.
I don't think we should do it.
We're just handing out information.
We're handing out information.
You want me to take that whole chunk out of there?
Well, yeah, because if it says vote yes, don't we have to say who this is from? And I don't really want my name on here, because I still am not necessarily for it.
Okay.
So who's telling me to say yes?
Yeah, I don't think we
Carol
should.
Egan is.
I don't think we should
Can't
advocate,
make up her mind.
Even though we're in favor, we can say that when we're asked. Or,
right, there's that line between, I'm a taxpayer, I'm on the select board, I like the board.
it's kind of like getting a glossy folder from the
Yeah,
school.
it's all our, make
It's all our
it
money.
the right way.
This, I like this because it's black and white, it's copied up, you know, this is cheap, we could go and give reasonable.
And then I just have one other thing, it's on the front page, it's kind of like the back page, it says New Yorkers will pay for it,
So,
where it says who will pay it, New Yorkers, Castleton, Pulteney, Middletown, can you just say
All.
Everyone who
everybody
comes to Fairhaven.
comes through Fairhaven?
Everyone who comes to
Yeah.
Fairhaven.
That's it.
Because what if I'm from, Hydeville? Is that a no? I don't have, I don't like it.
Well, if you just use Flatlanders, that'll.
Right, that's pretty much what you're
You've
saying.
almost got it there now, like, if you just take out the 5 things on the bottom, because
Right.
anyone that buys a product covered by the local tax in Fairhaven.
Right,
Yeah, you can,
let everybody else make the,
Let them think, yeah.
and you can bold out the anyone or something like that, so it
Yeah.
sticks out.
Just take the 5 towns out
right.
and leave this paragraph here.
All right, I know I'm going over the top now, this really will be my last thing.
I don't believe
There's
it.
a lot of things that are capitalized and a lot of things that aren't. So like if you look down under where it says New Yorkers, residents is once, isn't the other. And that happens throughout. Maybe you can just kind of clean up some of that.
oh, that is a perpetual problem for me. I will
I'll look at
capitalize
it and mark it if you
wastewater
want.
again.
Yeah,
I was gonna hand it to Beth.
okay, good,
Yeah, she's my, this was draft 1.
perfect.
So, yeah. Oh, no, I'm terrible at that.
All right, I'm done.
Anybody else? If there, now you're not, when are you planning to get these out?
We still have time, but this is just, I didn't want it to be like a last minute spur of the moment thing. I'll bring back, a pickup copy.
So if anybody has any more things that edits or additions too. I mean,
Yeah, if there's something you want to say, please let me know.
And we're gonna see it again one more time before it goes out.
yes.
Oh, at least, yeah, because the first meeting's not till September, so.
But it is nice and clear and simple. I think most people will be able to.
Yeah, and
It gets right to the point.
right, and Paul is thinking very much his situation.
Yeah.
And
Same with Michaela, but they're all
Yeah.
suffering pretty much right now.
Yeah.
So,
Even before
Yeah,
COVID.
yeah.
He keeps using the thing about Green Mountain College. You know, well, Green Mountain College, it affected us here, probably his place, many of the bed and breakfasts, I'm sure, yeah. Probably the Fairhaven Inn. But what he got hit worse than anything was the liquor store. Yeah. I mean, you know, so, but they're busy now, so. I mean, just,
Liquor business has gone way up though with COVID, while all the others have gone way down.
Yeah, people got time.
Yeah, they're buying a lot of liquor.
and you can buy guns there too.
Oh, I didn't know that. I've
Yeah,
never been in the liquor
They
store.
you go into them with a mask on, with a gun, to a liquor store, and come out with a
Decide if you
gun,
want a new gun or hold
a,
on.
a sub, a gun, and a bottle of Jack Daniels. It's just and a mask, and you got a mask on. Hold it. If you have a hat on, you're good. Anything else in the parking lot? We do. Round table.
Is there any follow-up on either the fountain in the park or the dog situation?
Fountain's up.
Fountain's
up and working.
Oh,
Looks nice.
Yeah.
see how much I noticed. Okay, awesome.
Yeah, the guys, Nate heard you the other night, and he had some extra time, so he went out.
Oh, that's great. Okay, thank you.
Oh, and they,
Made my wife happy too.
they did, I'm so proud of these guys. They took the initiative, and they're like, well, you know what, it needed some mulch while we were there, so we just went and bought some mulch. Like, okay, that's great, guys. Wait, and they put a bigger pump in it instead of just letting the little crappy, the old one kind of dribble out. They did a really great
Well,
job.
I'm gonna walk right down in there and sit there and enjoy it for a minute.
I don't know what the dog,
The dogs that, the ones in,
Yeah, and
I got a call on Adams Street. If I think, Officer Humphrey said he was gonna check into if they were being fed and watered and,
Last I heard, he did go down there, but I haven't gotten updated,
right.
probably since last time we talked.
Can I just make a comment? I was walking very early one morning. First morning, I noticed that the fountain was up, and I walked. I was done my walk, and I went to West Park Place, you know, in front of Mrs. Adams' house, Betty Adams' house. And I happened to glance through the park, and the sun was just coming up, shining on the water there, shining on the water on the it was absolutely beautiful. I didn't have my phone with me or to take a picture.
That's nice to hear. You can tell that to me.
He's doing a great job. I couldn't be happier or prouder of him.
Done.
okay. The trailer that they're pulling around with the mowing machine on, there's no tail lights, no stop lights. I followed it today and I almost ran into him.
The low boy?
No, the little one that they carried around. So really upset about this project from the town office. We should have taken, first of all, when they had it dug up, they should have ran a pipe underneath the sidewalk and capped it and left it there and put our curb back in. We're gonna have a mess up there now because of paved. And I think they should have, again, the pipe should have been taken down the road a little bit further so that everything could come right through the driveway instead of digging up the front hop. I really feel they should have come out there and done something. It's taken about 4 hours to do that before they paid. I think they should have done that. It's going to be a cop job now, I'm sorry, and it's going to look like hell. Because we're going to have to patch the asphalt, and, you know, we had the sidewalk paved when they're here, and it could have been all taken care of. Now, we shouldn't, I mean, it just should have been done. That's, I'm really upset about that. I think it was poor management. And I talked about Grape Street already. In our budget as of the 16th of June, our police department is $15,315 over budget on SRO and overtime.
So the police department, the SRO, that 10,777, that comes back to town, and that's because we signed that second contract with the grade school mid-budget. For the police overtime, that's that accounting force we have when we're paying out like a vacation time, or when somebody quits and they take that time, and it's why would that be
Comp time?
the comp time gets billed out as OT. So if people leave, so here's the accounting practice that we took care of, but it makes it look bad.
How many people have left the police department that we paid that kind of money in overtime?
Oh, I don't think,
Nobody.
that's just an example, Jay, but that's an accounting practice that we fixed this budget.
How can you have an accounting practice if you're going to show a deficit when it's not a deficit?
Yeah.
What have we changed?
We talked about it during the budget season. It's the way Jenny was taking, which line item Jenny took that comp time out of, vacation time out of. So if you take it out of one.
Are you telling me that the SRO had $5,000 worth of comp time?
No.
Well, that's showing $5,000 over budget.
SRO comp time, what are you looking
The SRO, it says right on there.
at?
SRO and special services.
No, what I'm saying is.
That's matter of fact, that was $9,418. And the overtime was $5,000.
But on the revenue, see, and I don't know which one, on the revenue, the SRO came in and made 13,315 more than what they forecasted for revenue. Even though on expenditures, they were 10,000 over. So I come back on that and I'm saying, doesn't that mean that, again, I'm looking at the revenue page for the police before you look at the expenditure page. And under SRO, where it says we were planning on 52,000 coming in, but we actually made 65.
I guess I don't understand how that could happen. You got a contract.
No, but when I look at it, so I said, well, okay, it looked like they're over, but I said, it looks like they brought more revenue, they spent more, but it looks like they came out. All right, I don't know the answer.
Lucky.
No, I mean, that's exactly it. The SRO, well, you could only budget, say, $1 for the SRO. And it would look like you went over, but the school is pumping money in the system, so you're really not
It doesn't
over.
look like we got hurt.
Well,
Yeah,
if we're lucky, they'll eliminate the SRO this year. So I got for here.
You mentioned earlier the potholes on Washburn, down there on River Street, but if you could, that's the one. Probably. It's still, especially with all the rain, I know when I went by it looked like we got that.
I actually asked Nate about that today. There's a couple of spots. No, he said he didn't get to it yet. I asked him to get to it this week.
The summer rec that we usually do each year, and just a little status update.
Yeah, I did manage to get an update from the rec director a couple hours ago. They do have all of the supplies they need. sanitizer, gloves, masks, temperature checker. We're gonna use the bathrooms as needed, but Nicole is following state guidelines, keeping kids separated as they need to be, keeping groups separated from other groups. And our staff is going for training tomorrow, the counselors. So,
So that will, our earlier discussion about, playground and some of we're going ahead with our summer rep.
yeah, it's limited, but we're still moving forward.
Okay. And the last one was that roadside mowing one. I know I didn't get down to see Nate to look at the bush hog that he said, but I agree, probably needs work. But it's more of, it makes me think when I'm out riding around, most towns have the roadside mowing done for the first pass. And that somehow we can get it on a screen.
Yep. So originally the update I gave probably 2 meetings ago, we did intend to get the roadside mowing done mid to late this month. The new tractor had issues with the front end. They did order parts, they shipped the wrong parts. So they're shipped back and we're getting the real right parts in hopefully next week.
Jeff?
Yep. I don't have anything. I had one guy ask me about compost. Are we interested in doing like a 50-50 split on compost at the transfer station like we used to if somebody came in and screened it?
We take half and they take half?
Yeah. For them doing the service of screening it.
Have we done that before?
Yeah, I don't know if it's 50-50, is it? I don't know how that works.
I don't know. I was going to just have him get in touch with the town manager if people even wanted to do that.
It'd be nice because when you take that, it's good stuff, but it's full of junk. I mean, you never know what you're going to find that is non-biodegradable. Not usually bones. It's usually plastic bags, or, whatever they've got their leaves in, throw the whole bag in there. It's nice stuff. It's really, really good stuff. I use it on my garden, on my lawn, but it's kind of a pain. But
I'll put him and Joe together. Nobody's got a
down at the town, the stuff, all the urine boots and everything. It might be worth it, but somebody's going to make an awful. They're going to do pretty good for a little bit of screening. But
That's right.
Nice clean stuff. What we did, low tech, a long time ago, they had a screen that you could put in the back of your truck, run it through that, just if you were of a mind to be in that ambitious or cheap.
Yep.
Yeah, Joe, send them my way. If we've done it before, no sense in not. That's a nice for the residents to get some free topsoil.
Well, it's there. They can get it now.
Oh.
They can get it now. It's just full of junk.
Oh.
Go
That's right.
take a look. I mean, there's a pile of it.
Yeah.
And there's always more coming, especially at the end of the year.
Well, especially with, yeah, exactly. People are doing projects like that now a lot more than just because of time and they can. Okay, that's all I had.
Got nothing. Financial reports.
So bear with me because there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
It's a three-way split on the payroll. So motion to pay the payroll for June 27th, $27,102.35.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion to pay the June 30th payroll, $4,251.32.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion to pay the payroll for July 1st, $8,013.29.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Then I've got two general fund warrants. Motion to pay the general fund warrant for June 30th, $141,879.05.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And motion to pay the general fund warrant for July 1, $98,563.73.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
And the checkbook status after all that, I think is $159,459.55.
Okay. Need a motion to go in executive session?
I'll make a motion to go into executive session for civil litigation and property contract, 1 VSA 313A1, and personnel, 1 VSA 313A4.
Tom?
Is there a second?
No?
What do you have?
Oh, you added it.
Yeah, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Executive session?